Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you like this delight of a little dress for baby girl. This dress is appropriate for 6+ months. Oh, I love this scalloped edge for sure. So it's a combination of V stitches, so all double crochets. So V stitches and then shell stitches, which is either 4 or 5 or at the end 6. So very simple to make. These are just double crochet stitches, and these beautiful flowers are done in combination of stitches, but very simple to make, and I will definitely provide a step-by-step tutorial. For this project I used my go-to yarn, which is Loops and Threads. This is Snuggly Wuggly, and the color of this pink is Fairy Tale, and I also needed white yarn. So this is lightweight yarn, acrylic, 100%. I used 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. I also needed some darning needles, a bunch of stitch markers, measuring tape, and a pair of scissors, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. So without further ado, let's begin. Let's do a slip knot, and we're gonna start with 58 chains. 2, 3, 4, so now hold your thumb onto this very stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and into this stitch you held your thumb on to do a double crochet. So do 7 more double crochets. The first chain 3 counts as a double crochet, so this is 3, 7, and 8. Into the next stitch we are going to do a V stitch, so double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet all in the same chain. So that's our first raglan increase. I will mark my stitch, although it's pretty visible. Now we're gonna do 11 the double crochets. So 1, 2, count the stitches to make sure that you have 11 double crochets, and then into the next stitch we're going to do our second raglan increase, which is a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. We are now going to do 16 double crochets and then another V stitch. Here we're going to place another V stitch after our 16 stitches. So double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Place a stitch marker. Now we need 11 double crochets on this end for our second shoulder. We'll now do a V stitch again, chain 1, and another double crochet into that same space. Mark your stitch, and we should have 8 stitches left. Let's see what I have. So 2, 4, 6, 8. I have 1 left over, so I'm going to do my 8 stitches, and then I'm going to undo that last slip stitch. So 1, 2, and 8. I usually take my darning needle and I just undo my last unwanted or unneeded stitch. And then I grab that little loop and pull the yarn through and then tighten. And there you go. So now double check that you have same amount of stitches on all sides. So 8, 11, 16, 11, and 8. For row 2, chain 3 and start your double crochets all the way to the stitch marker. Now you came to your V-stitch, so we're going to put one more double crochet into that first double crochet of the V-stitch, and we're going to place a V-stitch inside the V-stitch. So double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet. Replace your marker. First I'm going to do a stitch here and continue with double crochets until you get to your next stitch marker. At the next stitch marker, last double crochet will be into that first double crochet from the V-stitch, so double crochet in there. Inside the V-stitch, do another V-stitch, so double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet. Replace your stitch marker. And continue with double crochets to the next marker, and do this all around until the end of round 2. At the end of the row, don't forget that you have this one turning chain where you have to put your stitch or another stitch in. So in total you should have 9 stitches. So this is my V, and I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and into that turning chain I'm going to put one more double crochet. So chain 3, and we're going to continue doing this until we reach 11 centimeters of the yoke depth. So from this point down we should get to 11 centimeters. 11 centimeters equals 4.25 to 4.5 inches. So let's do another 6 rows, adding V-stitches here and then extra stitches around it so that we expand our yoke. So we're going to do 4 more rows. These are 2 rows that we just made. We need 4 more. So just checking in. This is what I have so far. I have how many rows? So 1 2 3 4 5 6 rows, and we need approximately 22 centimeters width, and we are at approximately 19 or 17.5 inch. We need 22 width or 8.5 inches, and here the depth of our yoke should be 11 centimeters. We are at 7.5 or 3 inches. We need 4 inches or approximately 11 centimeters. So let's do another 3 rows and then we'll remeasure. All right, so let's do some measurements. I think we got it. So we need 22 centimeters, and we got 22 centimeters, and the depth of our yoke should be 11, and that's exactly what we have. And in inches, that is 4 1/4, and then it is 8.5 inches width. Let's finish our yoke. So chain 1, and let's put 2 single crochets in every row space. So what I mean by rows is these here. So another 2 single crochets in this row, and this row. I am going to create 2 button loops. So one will be here and the other one will be here. So chain 3, then skip this row and single crochet into this row once, and then twice. Then twice in this row, and twice in the next row. So we will now chain 3, skip this row, and then single crochet once in this row, and then I'm gonna single crochet into this very top stitch. And so now we have 2 button loops. To continue, chain 1, and we're gonna single crochet all the way around. It's easy to see the stitches. That's our setup chain, or foundation chain, some people call it foundation chain as well. So 1 single crochet per 1 double crochet, and I'll meet you on the other end. Once you reach the other end, there is 1 more single crochet, and then the very last one, chain 1, and turn your work. So now we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 rows with the single crochets. So we're gonna place 20 single crochets along this side. So there is 1 here. I'm gonna place another one in this row, and then 2 per each row down this line. So make sure you have 20 stitches, just evenly spread them out. And if that means that you need to add a 3rd one in a row, then so be it, as long as you end up with 20. So I got 18 so far, and this is my last row, so 19 and 20. And so now it's time to start working in rounds. So we're going to connect here, and then we're going to connect here under armpits. So at the end of your work, we are going to slip stitch into the very last stitch of this round. And now we can chain 3 and start working our double crochets. In each of the double crochets until you get to the first stitch marker. I placed my last double crochet before the raglan increase. So now yarn over and insert your hook into that first V. Then go all the way to your next stitch marker. Insert your hook through that space as well. Pull the yarn through and double crochet. Now turn your work and start working in your first double crochet and continue with double crochets in each double crochet from previous row until the next marker. I'm at my next increase, so yarn over and insert your hook into the marked space. Bring the other side to it, pull the yarn through both, and double crochet. Next, continue double crochets all the way around until you reach the end. At the end of the round, when you do your last double crochet, slip stitch to the top of chain 3. Chain 1 and cut the yarn. I counted my stitches and I have 69. And I cut my yarn here because I want to start and finish my work under the armpit. So pick one of these 2 stitches and attach your pink yarn again. We're gonna go 2 more rounds with pink yarn before we switch to the white one. So chain 3, and I'm gonna be working over this little tail and continue double crochets around. So do 1 more row of just 1 double crochet in each double crochet around. At the end of the round, slip stitch to the first double crochet, chain 3, and into that same space double crochet, 1 more double crochet, and then increase, which means 2 double crochets in that same space. Then again 1 double crochet into the next 2 stitches, and into the 3rd stitch increase. So 2 double crochets here, and again 2 double crochets into the next 2 stitches, and then 2 in 1 stitch. So continue this sequence around. So I'm at my last stitch where I will put my double crochet or 2 double crochets, and I'm going to slip stitch into the first double crochet. At the end of this row, we will switch the yarns. All right, so we can cut the pink yarn, and I'm going to tie these 2 ends so they don't come apart. All right, so now slip stitch back into this space between the 2 double crochets. So chain 3 and into that same space double crochet. So we did double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet, or a V-stitch. Only this time we're going to skip 2 and do 3 double crochet cluster between double crochets. Now we're going to start skipping 3 and then do V-stitch alternating with 3 double crochet clusters, all between the double crochets from the previous row. So skip 3, and in the next one do your cluster stitch of 3 double crochets, and then skip 3 Next one is our V-stitch. Skip 3 and cluster stitch. So do this until you're almost there at the next arm hole, and then we'll see if we need to make any adjustments. So keep skipping 3 double crochets and work between double crochets. Alternate V-stitch with 3 double crochet clusters. So I'm at the next armpit. So I am going to make an adjustment here and do V-stitch after skipping only 2 double crochets. And skip 2 and do cluster. And now continue skipping 3 and it's your V-stitch. Skip 3, cluster stitch. And skip 3 and cluster. And that leaves us with skip 2. We're going to slip stitch to the top of the V-stitch. And then we're going to slip stitch into this V-stitch and chain 2. And now we're going to do 2 more double crochets. So we're making a cluster where our V-stitch was. And then when we get to the 3 double crochet clusters, we're going to do a V-stitch into the middle one. So this is 1, 2, and 3. Into this cluster stitch in the middle, we will put V-stitch. So double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Into the next V-stitch, we will put a cluster, so 3 double crochets. Into the next cluster, into this middle stitch, we will put V-stitch. And continue so until the end of this round. I'm at the end of the row, so this is my 3 double crochet cluster, which means in the middle one I will put V-stitch. And I will slip stitch to the top of chain 3. We're going to do 1 more row of same 3 double crochet clusters and V-stitches. So slip stitch into that top of a middle double crochet and chain 3. 1 more and into that same space finish your V-stitch, then into the next V. It's 3 double crochet clusters. Then again at the top of the middle double crochet of the cluster, we're going to put V-stitch and continue so until the end. After these 3 rows of white yarn, we're going to do some increases, and we're going to do that by first slipping into the V-stitch space and then chain 3. Instead of 3 double crochet cluster, we're going to do 4 double crochet clusters. So that's chain 3, 2, 3, and then the 4th one. And then still on top of third or middle chain, we're going to do a V-stitch. Then again 4 double crochet cluster. And then a V-stitch on top of the middle double crochet. So that's our sequence for this row. To continue, we are going to slip stitch into the middle of the first 4 double crochet clusters, and here we're going to chain 3, and then we will do our second double crochet for a V-stitch. In the V-stitch we're going to put 4 double crochet clusters in every V-stitch of this row, and then when we get to 4 double crochet cluster in the middle of the cluster, so 2 on each side, we're going to put V-stitch, chain 1, and finish your V-stitch. Moving on to the next V-stitch from the previous row and do 4 double crochet cluster. And in every cluster from the previous row, in the middle of it, we will put a V-stitch. So that's the sequence for this row. And 2 more rows after this. So we're going to have clusters of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. I finished 7 rows of white yarn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So for this row, we're going to continue with 4 double crochet clusters. But slip stitch into the middle of this cluster. One more thing I wanted to tell you is that your yarn will travel, so you're going to end up probably more in the front of the dress. We don't want that. So what I've done, I just slip stitched right here and then push my yarn right back, or my beginning right back. Alternatively, you can chain 1, cut the yarn, and then reattach your yarn so that it's always around or just under the armpit. So for this row 8 with white yarn, we're going to chain 3. That would be for a double crochet. Instead of chaining 1, we're going to chain 2 and then finish that V-stitch. So continue with 4 double crochet clusters. And then between the 4 double crochets, put a cluster with double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. One more time, 4 double crochets. And into the cluster stitch between the 4 double crochets, V-stitch, but chain 2. Oops. So that's our sequence for this row. 4 double crochet clusters, double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. So we finished the first row of 4 double crochet clusters and then V-stitch that has 2 chains in between, 2 double crochets. So we're going to do 2 more rows like that. So slip stitch into the first V-stitch, chain 3, and add 3 more double crochets. And in between the 2 sets of 2 double crochets in the middle of the cluster, V-stitch, so double crochets, chain 2, and double crochet. So 2 more rows. We now have 10 rows of white yarn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we're going to do another increase. So to do the increase, I like to put my stitch marker where I do my increases because it kind of gets easy to get confused which row you're at. So for this next row, slip stitch into this first V. So slip stitch and then chain 2, and in each chain a V stitch or double crochet separated by 2 chains, we're going to put 5 double crochet stitches. So our clusters will have, or shells will have 5 double crochets. And 5. Still between the 4 double crochets from the previous row, we're gonna say put our double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. Into the next V, a 5 double crochet shell, and then into the next shell between the 2 sets of 2 double crochets, V-stitch, double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. Continue this till the end of the round, and then I'll show you what to do next for the row following. I'm going to put my stitch marker here so that I know this is my first row of 5 double crochet shells. To continue, so this is our first row of 5 double crochet shells. We are going to slip stitch to the center stitch of this 5 double crochet shell. So this is our center stitch. So here we will chain 2 and then 2 more and double crochet into that same stitch. So this was our V-stitch, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Into every V-stitch from the previous row, we will continue to put 5 double crochet shells. And again, into the middle stitch of each 5 double crochet shell, we're going to put a V-stitch. So double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. And we're going to do this for 4 rows. So this is row 2 of 5 double crochet shells. We're going to have in total 5 rows of 5 double crochet shells. So finish this row and then 3 more. So I finished my 5 rows of 5 double crochet shells. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see it started here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I am going to remove my stitch marker. And let's do some measurements. So my little dress is approximately 24 centimeters across, or say 9.5 inches, and my length is so far 13 inches. I'd go for 15 inches. Okay, so we're at 13 and I would like it to be 15 in centimeters. That is 33 centimeters. Say 15 would probably be, yeah, 15 would be 38 centimeters or 15 inches. So I am going to cut my white yarn. So chain 1, and I'll cut the yarn, and then I'm going to switch the yarn to pink again. This is also a good time to recenter your beginning of your work. So this is the armpit. I'm going to go down here and start in this V-stitch. Two more, and then start your additional 4 double crochets for a 5 double crochet shell stitch, so that's 4, one more, and in the middle of each 5 double crochet shell stitch we're going to put V-stitch, double crochet, chain 2 and double crochet. So if I want 5 more centimeters, we said we would like the dress to be 38 centimeters, so I'm at 23, so that means 5 more centimeters, and 5 centimeters correspond with my dress, so right here to 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. So we need 4 more rows like this, and I'll meet you there. I finished my 4 rows of pink yarn, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and let's take some measurements again. So I am now at 38 centimeters or 15 inches, which is amazing. And so now for our final row, we are going to make some single crochets and then 6 double crochet fans or shell stitch. So slip stitch to the middle of this 5 double crochet shell, chain 1, and into that same space single crochet, yarn over, go to your first V-stitch and do 6 double crochets. Now find that middle stitch again, and in that top of the 3rd stitch put single crochet, yarn over into the next V, put 6 double crochets. And again find that middle stitch, which is right here, and in that stitch put single crochet. So that's our sequence for till the end of this row, and that's going to give it that nice finish. This is my last shell, and now I'm going to slip stitch into that very first single crochet we made at the beginning of our row. Cut your yarn, and we're pretty much done. Okay, so our measurements now as far as the height of the dress are 15.5 inches or 39 at the lowest part, 39 or 40 centimeters. So our dress is appropriate for 6 to 12 months. And now let's do some finishing touches. To make the flowers, I'm going to make magic circle. You can search YouTube for magic circle tutorials, and there are some really good ones. So we will chain 1 and do our first single crochet. That's 1. We need 10. 2, and 10. After you got your 10 single crochets, tighten the middle and slip stitch into the very first single crochet. Chain 1 and cut that yarn. Tighten this little knot. Okay, now grab your white yarn. I'll make a slip knot. Tighten the center again. So let's start in this stitch over here. Pull up that yarn. And chain 2 into the next stitch. Do half double crochet and double crochet. Into the next stitch, double crochet and half double crochet. Now chain 1 and slip stitch into the next stitch. Into the same space, chain 1 and into that same space, half double crochet and double crochet. Into the next stitch, double crochet and half double crochet. Chain 1 into the next space, slip stitch, chain 1 and into that same space, half double crochet and a double crochet. Into the next stitch, double crochet and half double crochet. Chain 1 and slip stitch into the next stitch, chain 1, half double crochet and double crochet into that same stitch, and now double crochet into the next stitch and a half double crochet into that same stitch, chain 1, slip stitch into the next stitch and into that same stitch, chain 1, half double crochet and double crochet, into the next stitch, double crochet and half double crochet, chain 1, and you're going to slip stitch into the chain space where we started. And your little flower is done. So your chain 1 is in the back of that flower. Pull up a decent tail and cut the yarn. Now we can tighten again the middle of the flower, which is this one here. There. And I'm going to tie a knot. And one more time. Because we're going to be attaching the flower to the pink part, I am going to tie the knots with my white yarn and then tie them in the back, put a few knots in, hide my tails, and then we will attach flowers to the dress. For the placement of my flowers, I decided to go this way, but it's your choice. You can definitely do it in one line only. So my central one will be, I'm counting the shells or the V stitches that I have here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So I am going to leave 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So my flower should be around here where this little V-stitch is, and I think this would be okay. So my flower should be attached in these two stitches or around that place somewhere. So I'm going to put my stitch marker just below. All right, and then I'm going to look for the placement of the other two flowers. So this one goes here, this one goes here and here. So I'm thinking, okay, so I'm gonna go for this row, and then from the raglan increase 1 2 3 4 5, and say where the sixth one is, maybe one over. So 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then where the seventh stitch is, my flowers should be. And now going into that same row, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and into the seventh stitch my flower should be sewn into. All right, or not sewn, but attached. So here, here, and here. All right, so to attach my flowers, I always use hook. So it needs to be around these two stitches because that's my middle V-stitch. So I am going to insert my hook from under. I always cover the top so that I don't get into the stitch, and I will draw up my hook, get my little flower, and pull one of these strings or tails under my dress. Here. All right, and so right next to it, which would be in here, I will get that other tail and draw it under. All right, so I think I'm one stitch. I'm gonna go and change this tail to go one stitch over. So it should be right here. And I think that's better. So then I get those two tails and pull to see if I'm happy with the placement, and I am. That's right above my V-stitch. So I'm gonna leave that there for now. Well, I'm pretty happy. So I'm gonna tie these 3 flowers onto my dress. I think I'm gonna move this one down by 1 row. That's what I'm gonna do. So just move it to this row here. I'm gonna tie the knots in the back. You can do so yourself, and then we'll see if you need to sew them in place so they don't flip forward, or after being washed they may crumple a little bit. So I prefer to sew down my flowers a little bit, because when I was turning the dress upside down, see, this is what happens, and I don't like that. So what I usually do, if I don't have just a regular thread and needle, I just split my yarn. This is a 3-ply yarn, so I have to take it off the table. So there you go. There. I'll just continue this off the camera. So I'm gonna go with 2 strands instead of 3. And I start from the bottom of inside the dress, and I'm just gonna put probably 1 stitch to every flower, to every petal. So try to work around the stitches. Leave yourself enough tail so that you can tie the knot later on at the end when you're done. All right. And what you can do is actually, you can get through the fabric again underneath the white flower if this is not too complicated for you. So say right here between stitches, and then what I do, I go underneath the flower until the next petal so that my yarn doesn't show, like here. It's a bit more complicated, so now thread your needle to the top of the flower and back. And then get out here somewhere underneath the flower again. And get the yarn through the petals onto the next petal. Bring it up. And so on. So that's how you'll secure your flowers to the dress. And at the end, cut yourself a little bit of a tail so it's barely even seen on under the dress, and it's secured now to the dress. And now I will just do a couple of knots. And then what I do is I take my darning needle again, I thread both of these tails in, and then I take it through the pink yarn to where the white yarn is, and just kind of blindly go and catch a couple of strands there. Making sure that I'm not showing it on the top of the flower. And now you can cut your tails. Okay, I'll do that with the rest of the 2 flowers, and then I'll meet you then. It's time to sew our buttons. I found these buttons, I believe it was on Amazon, and I'm going to use the pink yarn to secure these buttons onto my dress. And so these are buttonholes. I have to make sure that my button is going comfortably through the buttonhole, and it does. So now we need to line up our rows and then make sure that our button loop corresponds to the buttons on the other side. And so I believe that's that. All right. my needle just barely is going through the buttonhole, so I might have a little bit of a struggle once I get a couple of rounds of yarn in there. Okay, and I will do this one more time and tie the knot in the back and sew my other, or secure my other button, and I'll see you then. And so that's the end of our project. I think this little pink and white dress turned out really great. The button kind of nicely complement the back of the dress. So this dress is definitely for a baby older than 6 months, maybe even to up to a year, depends on the size of the baby, and obviously all of them are different. The dress has a lot of stretch to it for sure. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and let me know in comment section if you have any questions or concerns. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. And until our next project together, stay well, everyone.